Hey everybody, welcome to another DotPro Show. I'm not KBBQ, that's not Woodshrew. I'm Cyphus, that's Roland.
Hello.
But we do have a little bit of gravitas to bring to the episode today. Somebody who probably at least knows an ounce more about what's going on in the pro scene than Roland and I do. And that is Stephen Toffees Pierce. Welcome back, Toffees.
Now the question is, do I have gravitas because of my knowledge is large, or do I have gravitas because I'm just a massive person?
Because you're famous, bro.
That's right.
Okay, dude, I'll take it.
Yeah, because you're famous. That's gravitas. Like, you're famous. Yeah.
Hashtag follow me.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, Jesus.
We'll throw that hashtag out
We're
there.
talking to Toffees right now. I'm shaking, dude. No, but for real, I love your content, dude. Big fan.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's get this one out of the way real quick. So Toffees, you're going to be staying with us at TI, which I'm hella looking forward to.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's going to be fun on our lake house mansion. It's going to be a blast. Yeah.
I'm super hyped about it. I'm gonna like go to the fence and like look through the knotholes at the rich people who live next to you.
No, you just go on the dock, dude, and you'll see Bill Gates out there, you know.
Sailing on that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make
Microsoft
best
yacht.
friends with him, and then he's gonna be like, "Yo, Toffees, I want to give you $10 million." I'll be like, "Thanks."
He'll be like, "Oh, you're Toffees? Oh my God, I listen every Sunday. I tune in. It's BG113. I've been typing to you, and you haven't been typing back. How about we just fund this whole thing? How's $1 billion? Is that enough?"
Sounds like you transition to like a weird Donald Trump.
I know. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge.
$1 billion. The morning show's huge.
Oh God,
That's happening right now.
Yeah.
I know, right? I want to make Dota great. If I was in charge of Dota, it would be
It'd be great again.
Sorry. Anyway, okay. Enough making fun of the
The joke's gonna be on all of us, man. You know,
when he wins and then he goes back and listens to our podcast and then deports all of us.
The joke's gonna be on all of us, man. It's getting less and less funny the closer we get to November. It's getting less and less funny, and like speeches getting ripped off. What the fuck? You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Oh man,
that was so amazing. What was amazing about that was, before the speech, she made a statement that she had some help, but she tried to write the entire thing by herself with as little help as possible.
Oh, well, maybe Michelle Obama helped her.
And the plagiarism thing was dropped. There was a big notification from her and the party that was like, "Oh, she didn't write any of that. It was all a speechwriter. She just read it."
I doubt she read it on the teleprompter as she was trying to.
Yeah, well, you could tell when she was reading it that, like, legitimately, I 100% believe she had nothing to do with it. But on the other hand, like, don't you want your first lady to have something, like, the ability to make up her own speech? I don't know. It is what it is.
Well, I mean, think of the notable first ladies in the past. You know what I mean? Like the war on drugs. You know, Nancy Reagan. She you know, notable first lady. I'd say that Hillary, super notable first lady.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Michelle Obama's been very notable.
Michelle Obama, super notable. Trump's wife, doubt she's gonna be super. She's gonna just try and get Pokemon Go unbanned in Russia, and that will be her cause. Because
I just want to know how a conservative party whose one of their platform stances is I don't know how to word it, but they word it like pornography is evil or pornography is like a disease in America, can support someone who did softcore pornography as the first lady. Like that's the thing I just don't understand.
Yeah,
like, I guess we're getting
hilarious.
There, right?
Hey, you don't want to talk to us about pornography. We live in the state that's pioneering that public health risk concept.
Is this DotPro or is this .porn?
Yeah.
Defense of the porn. God damn it, we need it. It's not a disease. It's just all like a circus show. But yet the circus, it's like come to the circus, but it's not a joke. Okay, it's not a fucking joke. It's serious.
We have reality. So the nominee for the Republicans is a reality television star, and today they had the head of the UFC there giving a speech.
It was impressive.
So I you know, it's
Good Lord.
TV's taking over in a bad way.
Good Lord.
Well, it's because TV's dying and streaming and podcasting is becoming bigger, so the TV stars have to find something else to do with their life.
I guess
unfortunately, it means being president.
Yeah,
but maybe that means you and I can run for president in like 50 years.
Yeah,
you have to be 35, so I've got like 10 years to prep my campaign. And yeah, you know,
Well, we gotta wait till esport reality shows are a thing.
Yeah.
Once those take off and I'm hosting it, then I can consider my presidential run.
They kind of already are like reality TV shows. If you look at EG with like, come on, Allie, we want you back, and then it's like, never mind, bro. Like, like just set some cameras up, and we're already there.
Oh, if
you
only
you are the weakest lane.
If only some documentary crew had been following Owie for like the last year, like right after TI.
That poor guy, man. Oh, he was so nice and informative too.
Yeah.
God.
We do have the drama, and I think one of the keys to reality TV is you just have to have a host who kicks people out at the end and tells them to like pack up their stuff and go with some sort of slogan, right? So like we already have GG well played. Yeah. So like that's the finished slogan. So all they have to say is like, take your keyboard and go.
Sorry, Steven, but GG well played. And you're like, no, fuck that, no, man. Or you could do The Bachelor, like PPD is like a bunch of,
He gives out salt shakers instead of roses.
Yeah, he gives out the salt shaker, and I'm sure that you could get 12 Dota girls to go on The Bachelor with PPD. You know what I mean?
His girlfriend would probably be pissed about that, but you're right.
Well, they'll break up. Like, let's be honest, they're young. They're not going to last forever.
We're recording with Ashton Christ this weekend, who is friends with his girlfriend, by the way. So
I'm sorry.
Maybe watch what you're saying around here. All right. I'm gonna steer us back. So Toffees is coming to TI with us. He's gonna be staying at the DotP place, producing. Got a GoFundMe going. GoFundMe.com/Toffees. If you guys haven't donated, we strongly encourage you to go and do that.
It's a good URL, too. I was surprised he got Toffees. That he could get GoFundMe.com/Toffees. Like, congrats on that, dude. That was easy to plug.
Someone else had it, so I wrote them on email and was like, I think that I'm a better Toffees than this guy, and they just gave me the URL. So that's a lie. That's not true.
Is that
it was just
it was bad tactic, but it worked, I guess. Hey, I'm the better Toffees. I mean... No.
Your other Toffees has raised $12.
No, it was a successful campaign.
It still is.
It's still a successful campaign.
Still an active campaign.
No, I know.
The campaign's successful and I think two levels in the sense of, so the goal is $2,800, and that is everything said and done, all costs covered, babysitters taken care of, production value assured, all of these really great things. It was a success in the sense of we've raised $1,600 so far, which is absolutely phenomenal. And because of a couple of other groups have stepped in, like you guys stepped up and said, hey, why don't you crash at our place? That's cutting costs dramatically. We've had Complexity Gaming step up and say, can we help you with your airfare a little bit? That's helped cut costs. So we're at a point now with the $1,600 where I have a place to sleep, I have a plane ticket, and I have food.
Well, we're gonna stock the fridge too at the house. I'm gonna make a Costco run and spend like $400 or $500 and just get.
And you will get sick of hot dogs by the end of the week.
No, it won't be hot dogs.
Fair enough. But you also have like 10 guys there.
They have
it's Seattle, and I don't trust those fridges to stay full very long.
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, so long as it lasts a couple of days,
But so everything.
I'll try and feed people.
Everything you're raising from here, though, is going towards production value, right?
Production. So really, what it comes down to is if you guys want to see good content and. We're at a crossroads in Dota, right? Because there are fans who are totally happy to see someone with a task cam and a shaky camera, or even a selfie stick doing interviews, and that's the roots of where we come from. But we've hit a point where we want to take it to the next level. I showed you guys our flowchart, what we're putting together for the morning show, and we want to get legit. We want people to say, "Wow, this is content that is awesome. This is great stuff. I'm really glad that I supported it." And that's important to us. So literally everything that comes in is doing things like helping us to get a producer, helping us to get some editing software, helping us to pay fees and licensing to do B-roll around Seattle. Like I'm trying to shoot at Pike's Place Market, which I don't know if it's going to happen because they have a lot of requirements. But in order to shoot there, they want me to make sure that we get the licenses taken care of so that there's no legal issues with the shooting. And it's not very expensive, but that's a little extra on top. Stuff that we can't afford unless we're supported. And then we hope will really bring a lot of value to what we're putting together.
Well, I know you'll bring value. I mean, you have 2 years resume with 2 years experience sitting right there, 2+ years.
And I think I'll be great on camera. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm fairly confident in my ability to.
Well, you were an actor, weren't you?
I was. I still am.
So like not to like stick your thumb in your mouth. Like that's my problem. Is like camera gets put on me and my thumb goes straight in my mouth, dude. I don't know what to do with my hands. That's the thing. What do you do with your hands? You know what I mean?
Thumb to the mouth, though.
Thumb
That's
to the
what
mouth.
you do.
Yeah, dude.
Thumb to the mouth, or
It
down your pants.
makes it hard to talk. You know what I mean? And so, getting some professional training like Toffees has is going to go a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's going to be great. The thing that I don't excel at is behind the camera. Now, we've got a producer. He is the digital content producer for Major League Baseball, and he's a huge Dota fan. And he's coming out for the week anyway. So he was like, hey, I want to do something while I'm there. Let me produce your show for you. So like that was another big get that we desperately needed.
You just let him do it? You just said yes?
Why would I not say yes?
I'm just joking. That's
Oh,
awesome.
okay, I was like, that was like, when he messaged me, I was like, what? We're doing a show.
I don't know.
He's
Major
not
League
as scared as I
Baseball,
could have produced
worse than
myself. So-
Shanghai? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, so with what we have so far, it's been enough to get people interested. Valve has approved us. If you listeners, if you guys were there last year where the secret shop was, we're going to be above the secret shop with our, like, looking out over sort of the yard and the Jumbotron and the fountain. And we're going to stream live because Valve has also given us an internet uplink. So we have broadcastable speed so we can do the show live in the morning before the start of the event. A location, electricity. We've got a lot of the beginnings of the gear that we need. And we're at a point where we're just like, man, we can really take this to the next level. And that's what a lot of the remainder of the GoFundMe is going towards, is getting the task cams, getting the mixers that we need, and making the show really, really strong. And I think that everyone's going to like that. It looks like we'll probably be streaming to a major channel as well. Some of the studios have become interested in it. And none of them are paying necessarily, which is why we're still running the GoFundMe. But all of them are being very supportive. So like Valve is saying, we're not going to pay you for the show, but we're going to give you some internet.
Yeah,
Well,
they're basically helping with the distribution and just
Yeah.
the place to make it happen and make it kind of make it legit, because it's nice to see you going there to do this kind of a show and not be like outside the arena. You know what I mean? Like it's awesome that you're going to be right there. You're going to be in the heat of everything. God only knows who's going to be walking by. I mean, and pop in to chat with you for a little bit.
It'll be cool. We talked about this recently, Cyphus and I, on how willing the Dota 2 scene is to help. We did this. This guy interviewed us for his masters, and he's like, "How do you view the Dota 2 community?" And I was like, "Good, honestly. Like everybody that we've ever worked with has been willing to help us get bigger and get more exposure. Like there's never been anybody that's like, I'm sorry, you're too small. When you get a little bigger, hit me up, okay?" Yeah. So like that, it's really cool. Like that you're getting the support because they believe in you, man. You know,
Absolutely. Now to take it to the next level, we need more. So if you guys, if you've ever listened to my show, if you like the podcast, any of that stuff, even a couple of dollars, $1, $2, $3, $4 sent to the GoFundMe means the world to me. It's incredibly helpful. And on top of that, you guys did a GoFundMe recently, I think, as well. One of the coolest things that's come out of the GoFundMe is that when people submit donations, big or small, there's a spot where they can sort of put comments in.
Yeah.
And that's been the coolest part for me, is getting these sort of like $2 or $3 donations from people that are saying things like, Toffees, I'm just a college student and I can't afford a lot, but you know, I listen to every show. I love what you do. Keep making it, here's $3. Yeah. And those are the ones that, like, as much as I shouldn't say this because, technically the $100, $200, $400 donation is supposed to mean more to me. But in a weird way, they don't. It's the small ones with the words of encouragement that have been really the most motivating in terms of keeping me making content. Because as you guys know, it's a bit of a grind. It's not like we're making money hand over fist or even like
I know what you're talking about.
Fingernail.
We're rolling on 2 million.
I am
right now.
sitting on a stack of hundreds right now.
Well, the rest of us outside of the DotP Scrooge McDuck Bank are struggling to survive. So those words make it more worthwhile, I think, for us to sort of settle in and say, all right, I'm going to grind out another episode today.
Well, and also, like, big shout out to, like, Sir Action Slacks and Paul Schallner. I just noticed that on your GoFundMe, where Slacks not only donated, but he's kind of like the champion of Reddit lately. He can type like "go fuck yourself" and it'll make it to top our Dota. And he had a nice words of encouragement and had great things to say about you and said you're the best interviewer in the scene, which honestly I agree. Like Hotbid is off working at ESL. I don't know of anybody that I would hire if I were in like that position, other than you, to do like a professional interview that I can count on you to not like do like low blows. You know what I mean? Like I think we could count on Toffees to get a good interview out of somebody without being asking an asshole question.
And ask the pertinent questions. More importantly,
exactly. Like I would refuse the job. Like I would be like, I don't know anything about Dota. I play Slark because he's good right now, but like the pros.
No, I think it'd be interesting to hear that 80 minutes of interviews that you did about Slark.
Probably. So
we all play Legion Commander right now. That's a different.
That's a different thing. And when Hotbid came on the show, there was kind of like this moment where he's like, yeah, I mean, I left and like now there's a spot. Like there wasn't really the spot for that before. And I feel like now it's like open and it's not that contended, I would say, for that interview role. I know there are a bunch of...
I will say, like, I spoke with ESL about their events and stuff, and off the record, it's not an official statement, but it seems like a lot of the organizations aren't looking for, outside of the main event, Valve's at TI, they're not looking for those serious sit-down interviews. Like, the big problem that I have is Casey Ashenson is part of the Valve culture. She does these sort of serious interviews for TI. And if you watch other tournaments, nobody else really does that. Even when Hotbid did it, a lot of them were still a little bit funnier, right? Yeah. And to the point where like Slacks is doing them now because a lot of the tournaments want that sort of funny,
the meme can get to
content.
Reddit. Yeah,
and what I've said time and time again, and I will stand by this, is right now in the Dota world, is you guys are listeners. There's really three kinds of things that we see on camera. Not talking about podcasts. Think podcasts or ball game. The three types of content we see most often is angry men yelling, intense brainiac discussion, or meme goofiness. There's no such thing as either fun and lighthearted content or serious one-on-one behind-the-scenes talk, if that makes sense, outside of TI.
Well, that's what I want as an adult. Like I
agree.
I want you to sit down with PPD and I want you to pick his brain, and then I want to watch that. And I don't want you to be like, "Oh, so you're the salt shaker? Here, I have some Mortons in my pocket." Like I don't want that.
Right,
I want you to.
That's what we're trying to do. So if you want that kind of content, you know, guys, if your viewers or listeners want that kind of content, the morning show is designed to try and fix at least one of these problems, if not both. We want to create a fun, lighthearted, but mostly, and I won't say completely because memes are what they are, a mostly non-meme experience. We'll still have videos and B-rolls, but we want it to be legitimate. And on the same token, tune into the interviews because we're trying to also create an atmosphere where we say, let's get behind the scenes. I don't know if you guys saw last week I did a show with Zyori from Moonduck, and we talked candidly about Moonduck business practices, the struggle of staying relevant, and some really good topics that I think nobody really gets because that's not the stuff of interviews at tournaments.
Yeah, completely.
I'm sorry for the typing. I'm just saying you've convinced me, and I'm just donating money right now because I completely, this is good. You guys, once again, GoFundMe.com/Toffees. Do this. Like, don't you want that too? I want that.
Yeah.
I'm sick of, I'm sorry, but like, it's getting a little bit old for everything to be some play on some meme that I've seen for the last 2 years. I want something serious. And this is a whole can of worms that we often times talk about on our show about making the scene more professional, but that's a step in making the scene more professional. And God damn it, you just got $50 because I fucking agree with you.
Thank you so much. And I think,
sorry for the
talk
typing.
About the morning show specifically, like the thing that I love about TI is that it is the epicenter, right? It is what we wait all year for. And their pre-show is generally pretty short. And when it starts, I love the host. I love Red. I think he does a phenomenal job. And I love all the analysts who are going to get hired for this. I know a lot of them who are going, and it's going to be a really good show. The problem that I foresee is we've seen an increase in like ex-pros and sort of analytical analysts.
Well, where are they going to go? You know, where are they going to go?
Piri and Flax used to be on the panels. Shane used to be on the panels. Slacks used to show up. And then you sort of got this sort of like jovial / serious breakdown. And I feel like Dota pre-shows have run towards a lot of statistical breakdown and intense analysis, and we've lost a lot of the fun. So we're hoping that the 45 minutes before the pre-show, the Valve show, is going to sort of give that to viewers, get you warmed up, get you excited about the event, get you ready to hear the statistics, and sort of just waking up and looking at a load screen and then going straight into who you think is going to win tonight, if that makes sense.
Yeah, completely.
So if you're like me, guys, and you woke up every day for TI 3 hours early because you were super excited about it, and you sat there with a cup of coffee or, depending on what part of the country you live in, an orange juice or a soda pop, because it's the afternoon, and you just sat there staring at the screen, it was counting down like 45 minutes to start, then get behind the show, because that's what we're aiming to fix, because that was the worst 45 minutes of my day.
Well, and everybody being able to, we've heard time and time again, the folks like in the DotP guild, for instance, that can't go because they just can't get off work, and unfortunately this thing runs during the week. I mean, it's going to be nice to be able to be at work, 7 a.m. Pacific time is going to be 10 a.m., Eastern time. You're going to be able to listen to that kind of a pre-show before work. You're still going to be able to be connected to what's going on out there at TI if you couldn't make it. And I mean, if you're a Dota 2 fan, even a casual fan, like TI's, it's the event to pay attention to,
And then, of course, if you guys are saying, well, I'll never be up that early, Toffees, we're going to put it on YouTube. We're going to put clips out there on YouTube as well. We'll release in a couple different formats. So if you don't get it live, you'll still be able to watch the sort of content we're putting together. But I think it's going to be solid. It's myself. You guys probably know Renessa. She does.
Yeah, I love Renessa. The first time she came on the show, somebody suggested to have her on the show. And we're like, absolutely. We're always open to literally anybody coming on the show. And she was just like, she knew her shit. Like, yep. we didn't really know who she was at the time. And this is probably like getting close to a year ago. I think we had Renessa on for the first time, and Jesus, she blew us away. And then she was writing articles for us for a second. Then it was just like it wasn't consistent, and it's tough to make another like aggregate for articles when you have to compete with Reddit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
But I think it comes down to, I've known her for a while. She's been associated with cosplay primarily, and then being the girlfriend of a big player. And even to the point where, like, when we started the show, I asked her to host with me because I've worked with her before, and she's been on Around the Pit a few times. She always impresses me with her knowledge. But I think she gets a bad rap because people think of her as like the girlfriend of a pro and not an analyst or an expert in her own right. And even to the point where we started the show, I got messages from some people in the scene who were like, well, be careful. She's, is she really going to be a great hostess, or is she just someone who knows because she's dating a pro or because she's a cosplayer? And I stand by the fact that she was on Around the Pit Sunday, and she did a great job. She continuously makes good points and knows what she's talking about. So she's going to be hosting with me. She'll also be in a cosplay, from what I understand, every day, or a different cosplay, so that'll add a little flavor to the show. And then we've got Prove Attitude, who is the maker of a really cool series on YouTube about what Dota was like in 1 versus how it is in 2, sort of goes over heroes and compares them.
She lives a half an hour away from us.
Oh, perfect. She'll be doing some camera work for us. So she'll be out there running camera, doing some video editing. We've got Eric, the MLB producer, doing production for us. And then we're going to have stat people. I think Nahaz can do a couple. Maybe we'll get some other stats folks to come in and do it. They're going to do sort of like a daily meta breakdown for a couple of minutes each day as well. So we're going to really try to bring all of the different sides of the story together into this 45 minutes a day.
And then if you want me up there to talk about Slark, I'm totally free on all those days.
Just when you need the 10 minutes of Slark.
I mean, if you need some Slark to really get up there and hype the Slark, I'm totally there, man, to hype the Slark. So
we'll have to fit you in, because I know you guys are potentially, I don't know if it's 100%, doing the evening show, the wrap up or whatever.
So and I guess we'll plug that real quick, but we've been plugging it on all of our shows. This is more about you than us, but 7:30 Royal Gaming Cafe. I know you'll be there, if not every night, a couple of nights. The Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they said we could have it all week. They were just stoked to hear that we wanted to bring people there, because that means they make money. But yeah, you can play Dota with your buddies. You can play Dota with me. We're going to be recording live shows there. They're open until 2 a.m. So if you just need to play Dota, you can stay there until 2 a.m.
It kind of worked out really nicely, because we were going to do what we did last year at Gamma Ray Games. And we love those guys. It's a small place. I suspect that Royal Gaming's not like that much bigger,
but it has Dota.
But it has Dota.
If you really need the itch while you're there.
But Gamma Ray Games unfortunately had another event scheduled that week. which it's really tempting to go to because it's a D&D event.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll be at the shows. I don't know. I haven't decided. But no, so Royal Gaming, though, it works out beautifully because it's one of the few remaining internet cafes in Seattle. And for everybody who's going to be there for that week, everybody's going to be itching to play Dota, and nobody brought any computers to play Dota. And even if you did, you can't play decently in your hotel room. I've tried it. It doesn't work out well.
Yeah.
So it'll give everybody an opportunity to watch shows be recorded live and play if they want to. So
exactly.
For sure. So we'll make sure that we, at some point, if you guys are doing that, get one of you to come on and talk about it. Because hopefully morning show, wrap-up show, it sounds like the kind of thing that if I was watching the Super Bowl or the World Series or, the Champions Cup, you get shows before it starts, you get shows after it ends. And that's I think, a big draw for me. I love watching those things outside of just watching the sport itself. And I'm really excited about bringing that to Dota for the first time.
Yeah, me too. I was really excited. I don't know. I'm going to go on a little gush spree here. I'm sorry. No. Here it comes. But for the longest time, we had Toffees on, early on in our start, but never really got to know him. And over the last couple months, you guys, we have really gotten to know Toffees. We've had 7-hour-long Skype chats where we're talking literally about nothing. It's I don't know. It's just been a blast. This guy, I will say, totally has my stamp of approval. He is legit. He really just wants to make the scene better, you guys. He is $750 away. If he makes that, I will reveal. If you guys donate and get that to 2,800, I will make a big reveal and do something crazy for TI. I want to see him do this because, God damn it. I mean, everybody that listens to Defense of the Patients knows my stance that this needs to be professional. Because I put my money and my heart and my soul into this, and other people need to put their money into it as well and make this shit professional. And that's where we're going to get money from, is by making this thing professional. Sorry, not by memeing, by making it professional. That's where most of the money is going to come from.
Memes have their place.
Memes have their place. But let's do memes and some professional stuff.
I know you're solidly in the
I am solidly
make
in the
esports professional camp, and I'm with you as
Make it something comparable to MLB or to the Super Bowl, where you have those analysts that are. Well, the analysts are always professional and they do a good job, so I can't really say anything.
Well, especially at the Valve events, and I think the best indication that the scene's kind of headed that way is that Valve themselves is kind of doing that.
Put your money where your ears are or where your eyes are, because we've all watched Toffees over the last 2 years. I think the minimum donation is $5 on GoFundMe. $5, guys. That's a couple chicken sandwiches from Chick-fil-A that I am more than happy to go without.
It's always measured in Chick-fil-A sandwiches.
Chick-fil-A sandwiches. I mean, it's not too many more. If 35 people did $5, it would be done. He'd have his 28, and it's just gonna get better and better and better with every dollar that goes. It's just something that we talked about this GoFundMe before it happened. Toffees was I'm gonna reveal a little bit, but Toffees was super hesitant to do it because he is just a really super nice guy, okay? And it took his dad and us and other people to convince him to do the GoFundMe in the first place. He was just gonna stay home. So
I'll agree. I mean, I'll be honest about that. Up until the day we posted it, I fought tooth and nail about whether or not I wanted to do a GoFundMe, because to my perspective, I'm 33 years old. I have a family. I have a pretty good life. I turn down job offers regularly to make sure that I can create content and be with my family and not get back on the road all the time. And it feels weird to ask our demographic, who you probably know, and if you're listening, generally you land between 18 and say 28 years old, and say, hey, could you donate money to me? And the thing that was said to me that convinced me, and I wrote this on an article, because somebody actually put a Reddit post up that was don't donate to Toffees, he's a douche.
Wow.
And it was pretty cruel. It had a lot of shots in there.
Jesus.
Because right now I create content at night, and I'm an at-home dad during the day. And he talked about how technically I'm just an unemployed asshole. Long story. Anyway, so it was pretty brutal.
And that gets to people, guys. Jesus.
But what I wrote to him is this, and I really genuinely, this is why I decided to do it. Is I said, you know what? I know that I and many people out there will happily pay $18 to $25 to go watch a movie at a theater for an hour and a half, right? We'll buy our popcorn, we'll do all this crazy stuff so that we can sit down and watch a movie. And my dad brought this up. He said, you've created how many hours of content over the last 2 years? And I said, a stupid amount of hours of content. Like, I enjoy doing it, but it's a lot of hours. I think there's 200 episodes of Coffee with Toffees. We're in our 20th episode of Around the Pit, multiple other things that we've done. And he said, it doesn't seem out of line to ask people and say, hey, if you've enjoyed this content, if you've watched a lot of it and you said, I love listening to this at the gym, I love listening to this when I drive, I like just watching it and hearing the opinions, then it doesn't seem out of line to say, hey, kick in $5. Say, this is like a ticket, but I don't want to force you to pay a ticket. I'm just asking if you're willing to do so. And that's sort of what brought me around, if that makes sense. So I'm not begging for donations. I'm saying if you like the stuff, if you want to see more, if you want to support it, you pay $20 to go see a movie to billionaires who probably don't really need it. Pay $5 to see content from a guy who otherwise can't afford to make it.
Yeah, and I mean, we have a huge community that are all awesome people, and I've heard so many stories of like, just can't afford it. Like, I'm in this situation, I'm in that situation, and God damn it, I wish I were a multi-millionaire so I could pay for everybody's trip to get to TI, because it truly is like, it's an amazing experience. Last year was some of the most fun I had in 2015. Probably the most fun I had in 2015. Yeah. And this will probably be the most fun I'll have in 2016.
It's true. And you can vouch for this. I said it in my GoFundMe. It's a recharger.
Yeah.
We work our butts off to make content. And there's, anybody who says that this isn't true is out of their mind and a liar. Because every single personality in the scene, every single pro even, has burnout phases where they just say, why am I still doing this? I could go out and flip burgers and make 6 times what I'm making right now, making stuff for Dota. And it's things like TI. And last year, going to TI for a week brought me back so fired up and so excited about Dota that I was even considering, like, maybe this is it. Maybe I should just stop producing content and just be a player again. And then I went to TI and I was like, no fucking way. This is the greatest game, the greatest community, the most fun I've ever had. Mm-hmm. The people who love Dota are the best people in the world, and I want to make stuff for them. Well, and that drove me for a year of content. So I also wrote, like, this part of my goal of going this year is I want to drive the next year of content.
Exactly. And it really does do that. We saw a huge surge in downloads, and I'm not gonna I mean, yeah, it's because of TI, but also, like, when I was screaming hype to the voice to the point where my voice was gone, like, that was true hype. That came right from the hype battery, and it does need to be recharged. And it really does kind of power you up. It's something to look forward to. It's also a great way for you to take that next step. It's like going to a conference for work. You know what I mean? Like, it's necessary to get that training to, it is good. If you,
and I think that it just kind of plays into the whole concept of creating better content. Mm-hmm. This leads to better content because it leads to better connections, because which leads to better guests, which lead to better points of view being expressed on Around the Pit or being expressed on the next interview on the next podcast. Mm-hmm. It's like, so. All right, I'm gonna shift gears. I'm gonna take us to the next topic, because this is the DotPro Show. We are supposed to talk about the pro scene somewhat. And
I think you should start with the Nahaz.
Okay, you want to talk Nahaz
That
news?
Is huge. When I saw that, I was like, good for him, and good for Complexity.
Well, I'll tell everybody, because there are people out there who are going, what the fuck are you talking about?
Most people probably know by now, because Reddit like seeps through everything. But yeah, Nahaz is the coach of Complexity. It's going to be really awesome to see, what he does with Complexity. Complexity is a favorite team of mine, and Nahaz is a favorite person of mine. So I'm really excited to see what happens there. And the insights that he'll bring to Complexity, I know he'll add a lot to that team. Wait, I mean, Complexity really well, Toffees. What do you think about it?
Well, I think it's the right call, and it's funny because so there was a Reddit post about a week and a half ago that was like, Nahaz will not be going to TI, and it was his tweet.
All sad, yeah.
And I wrote on that post, it would shock me if a team doesn't pick him up as a coach since he's not going as staff.
Oh.
And the amount, so I ended up with a -10 karma on that comment, which is pretty crazy. My Reddit comments usually do pretty well. So I was a little bit shocked. And then I just got scathing responses and direct messages about how it's a stupid idea and it's ridiculous, it'll never work, and he's not an ex-player, and all of these crazy things. And yesterday I went back through all those comments and wrote, ha 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 ha, or what now? Because I'm just I'm a petty person.
No, good for you.
But
I think the time to do it.
But that's the point, is our definition of coaching is incredibly narrow right now in the state of pro Dota. When you look at Dota today, there is one coach on each team generally. And that's sort of the main coach. He's the rah-rah, the Theban, the master of the game who helps with strategies and leads his team to victory. Now, that's not the way every other sport in the world works, right? If you go to an NFL team, they've got a head coach. They've got an upstairs coach. They've got an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, a quarterback coach, a lineman coach, a special teams coach. The list goes on and on. They have people whose only job is to watch replays and come up with special plays in case they're behind or something like that. Yeah. They have these extreme differentials of coach value because it's so important to win. This is TI. There's at least 18 million. My guess is 22 million that's going to be on the line for this event. It is silly to me if a team commits to one coach. Why not have a drafting coach? Why not have a statistical analysis coach? Why not have a motivational coach? You know what I mean? These are things that blow me away. I'm surprised that Blaze, for instance, has not been hired by a team to simply sit there and stare at draft screens and come up with synergistic ideas. These are the next steps for Dota.
Oh, is the talent list out?
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay.
I assume that Blaze will not get a spot. I could be wrong. He works for BTS now, so that may give him a little more traction. But BTS has put him sort of like an off-camera role lately, so I don't know if he'll go or not. If he does, that's great. But Blaze is a good example, I think, of someone who's really good at just breaking down drafts. And it surprises me that we don't see teams using those people. And I think Complexity is taking a huge step forward. We know that I think that they're using Motpax right now as their dedicated stat person.
That's
and
cool.
He does nothing but breaks down drafts and comes up with ideas for how to beat the opponent statistically. They're going to have Nahaz, who really is a great analyst when it comes to numbers. So they can put numbers in front of him and he can come up with potential solutions. He'll then take that to the team or the team leader and say, here's some ideas to help you motivate yourself or get the team moving forward. And when $22 million is on the line, or $18 million or whatever it's going to be, that's priceless to me. So I wasn't surprised to see them pick him up. I think Complexity has been moving forward since the day that they came to Dota 2. They were one of the first teams to be like, we're going to spend on a team house no matter what. We want our team together. We're going to get you guys in here. We're going to import players to be the best team possible. We're going to train nonstop. We're going to put fitness regimens. They hired a personal chef for their house to make sure that they were healthy and feeling good about playing. Like, this
That's
is a
awesome.
team. Yeah, that they've been, and to keep in mind, Jason Lake, the owner of Complexity, has been on the front end of esports since CS Source
1.6 or whatever.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
He gave Alex Garfield his start in esports, from what I understand. Alex Garfield was his assistant manager for Complexity, who ended up stealing the roster and making them evil geniuses, which is an awesome story. But he's been around, and he's committed to esports growing, and it wasn't a surprise to see them take this step and pick up a non-traditional coach to add to their staff.
But so Complexity is not a for sure, though, for TI yet, correct? Aren't they?
They're a wild card.
They're a wild card.
But if you're a
it's
wild
kind of a
card,
for sure, right?
Yeah, it's a for sure. You're at the event. You're playing live.
Yeah. I mean, how do you feel? Who do you think? Do you think they're going to make it through? I mean, obviously they're your boys, but
I think it's let me pull up the wild card list because I literally forgot about
Escape Gaming, and I know Escape and Complexity, and then I saw the other two. Don't really remember.
And that's what it comes down to.
Annihilation, I think, is another one. Yeah.
Unless some crazy town happens, most of us, I shouldn't say most, I shouldn't speak for other people, I am relatively confident that Complexity and Escape will advance from the wildcard rounds.
People call me crazy for saying Escape's going to make it. But I really hope Complexity makes it. When I saw that they, for some reason, because I'll be honest, I don't pay that much attention. I watch the events, I watch Manila and everything, but I'm not like watching every game from the BTS hub or anything like that. Like I have a pregnant wife, I have a podcast, I have school full time. We're all busy, right? Like I can't really watch hours and hours of Dota and play hours and hours of Dota.
Yeah.
So
something's got to give.
When I saw that right before recording with you, actually, I saw that Complexity was a wild card. I was like, holy shit! Like they're a wild card. I just figured them to be in.
A couple of weeks ago.
I'm sorry. Ehome is probably going to beat Escape.
Yeah, it's probably. I was thinking Ehome. Okay, yeah, Annihilation, Ehome, Escape, and Complexity, right?
Execration.
Oh, Execration, not Annihilation.
So I mean, I think Execration's a nice team. I don't think that they get through. They don't really have the pedigree. Ehome has a phenomenal pedigree. Yeah. Lanham and Fenrir and Ice, like they're the old guard. They've got old Chicken who played out of his mind recently. So they look really good. So I think it comes down to Ehome's a for sure in my book. Escape and Complexity are battling for spot 2. Syndered is a leader that you can't write off. They've got Era, Yapzor.
Yapzor is good too.
Phenomenal.
Oh my god.
The problem that I have, and it really comes down to this, and God love them, I think Complexity is one of my favorite teams out there. I'm a North American bias. It is what it is.
I'm with you.
Escape is relatively new in terms of playing together professionally. Complexity has on paper a very strong roster and have been together for a long time.
Well, and we know, I mean, look at, OG. That was a lot of people credited that.
Complexity looked really out of sync in the last 2 tournaments I saw them play in. I don't feel like they're playing like the Complexity, even when the guys first moved in, they had more of a team vibe. So if Complexity settles in over the next 3 weeks, they focus, in my opinion, they focus on teamwork and communication over anything else, I think they advance without a problem.
I hope that happens, and I hope that their chef and getting the Haas and everything. No, that's a big deal.
No, I know.
When I eat a big shitty like Chick-fil-A meal and then go to play Dota, I'm playing way worse than not way worse, but like I feel sluggish.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I feel slow. I don't feel like. If there is a chef that's like, I'm going to put some extra protein in here, I'm going to make sure that they're feeling this way, like that, I'm sure that makes a difference, especially at a pro level.
No,
it's semi-comical, yes, but I mean, I heard Puppy talk about it on an interview about like how he eats before a game, and he's like, I always eat 2 hours before I play the game. I want to let it settle. I don't want to play slow. He's like, I'll never eat right before a game. And this is a thing that's talked about amongst pros. Like, for that to happen is really cool. And Nahaz, I just fucking love him.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he's one of the best guys out there.
I really want Complexity to make it through.
And again, like, stats, I know he gets shit for stats from time to time.
But they're snapshots of the past.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't give him too much shit because
But I also feel like, I feel like people frequently disregard how often, one, just on face value the stats are right.
Yeah.
2, just how often he's able to, deconstruct the narrative that the stats are telling, and come up with a reason for, hey, maybe this hero has a high win rate, but if we really drill into the stats, it's because so and so plays that hero phenomenally well, and he's the only one picking him. So maybe you don't want to pick that. Picking that hero isn't the right way to do it. He's able to take all of that and see the big picture, and then weed out the inconsistencies.
He's able to,
that's what he's so good at. That's why I can't believe they didn't hire him at TI. He's a statistical storyteller.
Yeah.
And you don't have a lot of people who can build a narrative around numbers.
I wonder if they didn't hire him for TI just because like this is like a fresh blood here.
I'll put out a conspiracy theory. Maybe he declined to go to TI.
No, he put up
at the end of the day, if you guys tune in, there was an episode of Around the Pit a couple of months ago where he said he was fired from last TI. Valve pulled him off. If you guys watch the last TI, he disappears after one of the days. Reddit got really mad about some stuff. I don't remember what it was. They said he was talking too much, or I don't know why. He doesn't know why, from what I understand. But they just pulled him up. They said, you're done. Like, say, in a less abrasive way than 2GD, he said he was fired from the show. So I don't know if that set a precedent or
it's
they're
Twitch
just blooding.
It's Twitch calling him an old man and shit like that, and it's just dumb kids.
I suspect that was the reason last time. I think this time there is a lot of new blood that I think we're going to see going. I know we're going to see going.
Who do you suspect? Go ahead. Who do you suspect, Toffees? Like somebody that we haven't seen. Like, do you?
I can't say because I know for a fact some of them. And if I say I suspect them, it would be me technically leaking something.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say that I suspect that Grant has. I mean, say what you will about the guy. Some people like him. Some people fucking hate him. But some people fucking love him too. And I've been listening to his drafts, and he's good at it. Like you can't deny that he's good at it.
What about Mott Pax?
Mott Pax, I don't know. Maybe
as far as like his stats, I mean, wasn't that discussed?
I think Ryu I don't know how much.
Toffees, and all you got to do is go when we say the right answer, and then you didn't leak anything. You know,
I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to see some new blood. There will be some, I think, controversial stuff that comes out. I don't know if Grant's going or not. That's one that I'm not aware of. But if Grant goes, there will probably be backlash because Grant has a history of saying things that are relatively abrasive, especially a long time ago when he was younger. But he's also really one of the utmost experts on North American Dota. So you kind of have to deal with the damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I guess if you stand by the argument that, for instance, Richard Lewis says a lot of things off camera that people don't agree with or challenge him on, but he gets hired because the folks at the TV stations and the events say, well, on camera, he's a professional. And that's what we want, someone who does what they need to do on camera. So I'm curious to see what they do offer and what they don't offer to some folks. I think it's going to be good, but I do think we're seeing a massive trend in Dota, for better or for worse, to analysts being ex-pros. And we've seen ex-pros putting themselves in that position. And that makes sense. We've seen
Swindles. Oh, I bet Owie. I mean,
all these guys stepping up and saying, "Put me on camera."
Ouie's going to get invited. Wouldn't you think? I think he's pretty. He's well spoken.
Well, I also think to a certain extent, a lot of Valve will also, some of these pros who are staples in the scene but may not have made the cut will probably still get invited or at least flown out by Valve potentially and have a place to be.
And
maybe at some point wind up on camera for a few minutes,
or like an autograph. If not, remember Black had an autograph in TI5, and he wasn't. I don't think he wasn't on a team for TI5.
Black was on a team for TI5.
Yeah, but he was there, and he had a booth. Like there was a huge line to get an autograph from Black. We had a funny interaction.
All right, I'm changing topics more time because we're running out of time on the show, and I want to hit one more thing. Okay. And that is Summit 2, or Summit 2, Jesus.
Summit 2 was a good
Summit 2 was a great summit.
The Summit 1 was really magical for me because it was the first...
I think I saw that brain dyslexia.
Were you talking about Summit 5?
Yes.
Okay, we can talk about Summit
5.
I watched 0 of it.
Same here.
Literally 0. And that's not because of a distaste for anybody.
No, I love everything that BTS does.
And I'll catch up on it I will. I'll watch the game.
And I don't care.
And I know who won and everything, which sucks.
I don't. Who did?
I'm not gonna say on air. That's
it's been
like Wings won.
Okay.
Wings won. And Jack has been with Wing. Like I have a strong suspicion that Korean Barbecue has some pretty close ties to Wings right now. He's going to freaking Disneyland with them. Or Universal Studios. He went to with them, and he's taking all sorts of pictures. Like Jack and Wings are tight, dude.
So Wings won. They're a very intense team. They are. So here's a couple of things about Summit, and I'll just load at this. I didn't watch a ton of it. Why? Because at the end of the day, the stuff I watched, I really enjoyed. The tournament felt more organic than it has in the past. It was very comfortable. It was a fun thing to watch. But because the invites have gone out, because I know who is going to TI, because that's the big tournament for me as we wind up to this huge event, my priorities weren't I gotta get home and watch the summit, right? Yeah. Because I need to know who's going to get the next invite. I think that it was lower key because of that, but I think the players enjoyed that. Now, Wings came out on top. Wings is a team that I talked to, I think it was Motpax not long ago, and he said, I've been trying to figure out their drafting style. I cannot get my head around it. A lot of the analysts say, some people have even joked that they just hit all random when they draft. Now, we know that that's not true. These guys have some really good heroes, and then they have players who are incredibly flexible and can play around whatever they need. They are one of the few teams besides maybe Digital Chaos that I think settles in, and they don't play the meta, they play the other team. And that's something that we haven't seen in a long time. Yeah. They say, we don't care who's powerful right now. We care about who you're good at playing and what we're good at playing against that.
Who did they play?
And they play that. And
they played OG? Okay, I was curious.
They
which is
OG
crazy.
Hard,
they won 3-1. It was
wow.
Yeah.
So I mean, does anybody feel what's the talk about OG at this point? Then I mean, are they? Obviously, they went.
They're going to put up a really good showing. I think the bigger story is not that OG didn't do well, didn't beat them. It's that Wings was caught everyone so off guard and has played so well that they were able to take on a top team. Does that make sense? So it's not that OG is not a top team. It's that Wings has proven that maybe they can be. To this point, and this was the craziest thing I saw, and I think you guys might have seen it because KBBQ tweeted it out. The Wings guys won the tournament, accepted the check, went downstairs and grabbed something to drink, and then went back to the room to watch the replays of the games because their policy is no fun till after the replays. And that to me is something like BTS especially, if you go to a summit, the after party is a blast. All of these events, the after parties are a ton of fun. And they all start immediately. Like the broadcast ends, we turn off the cameras and the party starts. So they were upstairs watching replays for an easy, probably 3 to 5 hours because of the fact that they played so many games.
Wow. While
the party was going on in the same building downstairs, because all they care about is being the best. And the manager for Wings came on my show a while back ago to defend his team against some cheating accusations about 6 months ago during WEC. And the thing he said to me that I didn't know that I believed at the time was, these are guys who just want to be the best at Dota. All they care about is winning, and they work their butts off to do it. And I was skeptical. And then when I heard that from Jack and I saw some of the stuff I've seen over the last couple of months, I'm starting to be a believer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
that's nuts.
Where does Wings is Wings at TI? Are they going to be at TI? This is something I don't know. This is a legitimate question.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do they have a direct? So they have a direct invite. They're not wildcard. They already have made it then.
There's no text on the main event page.
I saw something. I wasn't. This is how I'm more like planning our trip for TI than even paying attention to who's at TI.
So the invited teams were OG, Liquid, Newbie, LGD, MVP Phoenix, and Na'Vi.
Cool.
The qualified teams were EG, Wings, Team Secret,
DC,
Vici, Alliance, Fnatic. Yeah.
Okay. So they're there. Do you expect big things from Wings?
I do. I think that here's the thing about Wings. Wings will either C-deck the shit out of this tournament or they will burn out in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Because Wings doesn't do it small, and that's another thing I respect about them. They go in with, we're not going to slow play this team. Every game, we're going to take it by the throat, and if it works, awesome. If it doesn't, that's, pie on our face.
Mm. I mean, that was so much fun last year. C-Deck winning another game, and then winning another game, then knocking OG into the lower bracket, and like, oh my god, this wild card team. I know that, Wings qualified, but it's still hard to do.
Yeah, I was going to mention that earlier when just even talking about complexity. My instinct is to kind of discard the wild card teams, and then it was a couple of weeks back recording with Blue, where he was like, yeah, hey, remember C-Deck?
Yeah, don't forget about C-Deck that won probably a couple of million. I don't know what second place took at TI, but
wild cards are different than last year because less teams got the direct invites this year. So the wild cards were
top
teams that I think last year's would have got direct invites.
Well, yeah, Archon.
Arguably
complexity last year.
Complexity and eHome for sure, though.
I knew Archon wasn't going to go very far. In the wild cards, that was fun to watch. Because I knew that I never put Archon in there. It was, I put C-Deck and one other team, and it wasn't that other team, and I knew Archon wouldn't make it. Basically, is what I was
That's
going
so
for.
cruel to say. I was rooting for Archon.
I was rooting for Archon because Greg Laird was working
Yeah.
for him at the time. But I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm only rooting for you because of Greg Laird.
I think Archon was a good example of sort of where even Secret ran into trouble this year with the idea of they had 5 individually, in my opinion, mechanically gifted players that never synced together. And Wings is showing us above really any other team right now outside of maybe OG. And you can't say that because OG is sort of has the best player in the world and 4 really awesome players supporting him to a certain extent. Wings shows us that synergy and communication can win more often than individual mechanics at this stage of Dota. Because a year ago even, it wasn't any given Sunday. There were top teams that won all the time and second tier teams that got second all the time. Now, and we've talked about this, literally any given day of the week, a different team in the top 15 or 20 could take the win from the others.
It's true. So do you have anybody that you have a sneaking suspicion they're going to win, or that include any of the 4 wildcard teams? Like I know it's early.
It's so tough because when you look at it, you got this. You got EG's been looking better and better. They need to get their synergy down with the player adjustments they've had to go through. But they stopped through qualifiers like it was no problem. So with the next 3 weeks, if they come together and they sort of figure out how to work as a team, great things in their future. The new Secret looks incredibly strong. But again, they've got the same problem. On the opposite side, you've got a team like Complexity who's been together for a while now. but seems to not be communicating the way that they used to. So if they get their communication together, then they take the next step forward. Wings is a team that if Secret and EG and teams like that aren't on top of their game, Wings can win the whole thing. OG is one of my favorites because I think that OG has a really unique mix of players who are insanely committed and are really, really freaking good. But that's a team. If I had to pick a team that was like power of friendship, right now I would pick OG.
Power of
because
friendship.
they love each other, dude. Those guys stick together. When they lose, they work together. When they lose, they cry together. When they win, they sing together. And Fly is incredibly driven, incredibly disciplined. I don't know if you guys know this. His father is one of the founders of modern Krav Maga in terms of like the martial art.
Yeah.
So he grew up with a very structured, from what I understand, like sort of childhood, and has brought that into gaming. And his team, you can see, responds to that. Moon Meandered has been a different person since he joined his team.
Yeah. I didn't even know who he was, to be honest with you, until he went on OG. There were a lot of players that I didn't even consider to be like pros in my mind until they joined OG. And even when OG formed, I was like, okay, that's another losing team. And then they win Frankfurt. And it's like, what the fuck? And then you start paying attention to Crit. You start paying attention to Moon Meander. I already loved Big Daddy No-Tell. He's like, I like fanboy for Big Daddy No-Tell. Like, I just like his personality. I don't know. Like, he's one of those people that when he's on camera, it's just like his like blasé personality about everything is just awesome. And then Fly, I didn't even know who Fly was, and he's the captain. Who's this guy that's captaining? Why isn't No-Tell captaining? And then you realize very quickly why Fly's the captain.
I expected a lot of them. I wasn't surprised when they won Frankfurt, simply because Fly was ready to be a captain. And there's a lot of times when I see teams, so Fly and Meandered with Complexity last TI. And you could tell that one of the issues Complexity was sort of running into wasn't that Fly was challenging Swindles for position, but I just got the vibe when I would talk to them that Fly's ready. Fly has spent his time watching. He's learned what he needs to learn, and he wants to run his own team. He has the abilities and the wherewithal to be a great leader and just needed the chance. And when he formed OG and handpicked his team out of friends, people he had worked with in the past, great players, I was like, if this is what I think it is, and this is why they're one of my picks to potentially take it if they really come together, is that they put together a team that just wanted to play together at the highest possible level. And that's what they do consistently. The only time I've seen them bad is when after they won Frankfurt, they took a couple of months off. Once they came back and started working again, it was just like a steady climb. And that's where that's where I expect great things out of them for TI, because this is what they've been working towards.
All right. On that note, gentlemen, we're running out of show pretty fast, so I'm going to start closing us out. Toffees, thanks a ton for coming on the show. Thanks for those insights, because this is something the DotPro Show has been lacking, with just me and Roland in charge of it.
And remember, okay, I'll say this. I have a 27-inch 1080p monitor ready to go out. If Toffees hits his goal, I will go through randomly. I will exclude myself, Paul Schollner, and
what, you're not going to send Red Eye a monitor?
No, they're doing good. They're fine. I will send out a 1080p 27-inch monitor if we can hit the 2800 goal. I will RNG it, and I will stream it, and I will send it to you. Donate to Toffees. Get him there. GoFundMe.com/Toffees. Get him all the way there to 2800, because that's just going to mean it's going to be that much better. It's going to be $750 better than it's going to be right now. So
you
do
should
that.
tweet that so we can retweet it and hype it.
Well, hype it.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Hype it.
Yeah,
I will give a 1080p 27-inch monitor. It's an AOC monitor, because I'm getting a new monitor, and yeah, it's on its way. So I will give this monitor.
And that monitor's like a year old.
It's used, but hey, if you want a 27-inch 1080p,
well, no, I just mean it's not that old of a monitor to be replaced.
Right.
It's not even a year old. It's like 6 months old. But I'm getting a new monitor because I really want the 144 hertz. No, I want the 144 hertz.
You'll never use 4K.
I want 144 hertz.
You'll never
notice
the
4K.
And he's colorblind. I bet there's something wrong with him where he can't even see it.
I'm like that with my Android phone, so I respect you for doing it.
Yeah. So if you want to have the chance at winning a monitor, that goes for the people who donated $5 up to the people who donated $400. You have a chance to win a monitor. I want you guys to reach this goal. I mean, it's not that far away. Hype.
Maybe we do a
donate.
stream sometime soon. We'll give away some more Dota 2 items from those old
I'll
accounts.
I'll pick up some gift cards too. For
be
every
fun.
donation, you'll get a chance on spinning the wheel for a $20 Steam card.
Yeah, those who saw the last one, you guys know how those streams went. So
Let's pick the Steam back up on this GoFundMe. The last donation
we got like 3 weeks to TI.
we have 3 weeks to get $750. The last donation other than me was 11 days ago. People, don't forget about this. This is still going on. We haven't reached the goal yet. Let's reach that goal.
All right.
Awesome.
On that note, if you guys want to follow Toffees and just see the great content, see what you're paying for, go check him out on Twitch at twitch.tv/Toffees_Dota2. Follow him on Twitter at ToffeesTV. And again, the GoFundMe is gofundme.com/Toffees. If you guys want to find us, we are at .p_show. defenseofthepatients@gmail.com is where you can email us. defenseofthepatients.com is the website. Find the Amazon banner, all the Patreon stuff there, of course. On YouTube now, at youtube.com/.ptv1. That's where you can find all of these episodes. Are being uploaded simultaneously. If you prefer it through YouTube, that's awesome. Already, we just started doing this, and now I'm starting to see 30 to 40 people regularly, or that's how they're listening to it. So there are people out there that prefer the YouTube over the podcast. It's interesting to see.
They like to sit and stare at a picture.
It's a blank screen. I don't.
Get your cameras working, boys.
We need to.
Yeah, so many people are like, "Why don't you do video content?" It's like,
because it gets hot in here, and already we're
video
sweaty.
Content. They just want video supported audio content, right?
Yeah.
Like watching the Mike and Mike show. It's just a bit shy in the studio.
I know. It needs to be done, and it will be done.
That's an after TI thing to think about.
I'll make this promise, guys. If you get my GoFundMe to $2,800, I will hound Defense of the Patients mercilessly about getting something set up to record their podcast. So you don't have to look at a stupid picture while you're watching the YouTube.
We have the capability to do it now. Literally, all I have to do is press R.
Right, I have to harass you until you press R. So I will harass them.
I need to hire a maid to clean the studio because we're I clean it and the next day it looks the same. We're messy. We're messy. So
Red Bull cans all over the place.
Yeah. My mom was super clean. She was super clean. Make your bed every morning. I think it backfired.
I think my grandfather did that to me.
Yeah, it backfired on me.
We'll go to therapy and discuss this later.
We
should. All right, that's it, folks. I think those are all the plugs. Toffees, thanks again. Appreciate it. Love the content. Looking forward to all the stuff that's coming up at TI.
We're gonna have 7 days with you here in 3 weeks, so it'll be a blast.
Absolutely. Hey, let me say this really quickly, and then we'll sign out.
Okay.
Is if you guys need experience, if you have any experience in production, camera work, whatever, and you want to help out with the morning show, you can email me at it's 5midasgaming@gmail.com.
Numeric 5.
We've got volunteers. We love people who are willing to work. Somebody who worked with me on a whim to help out, it was a guy named Flub, and now I hear he works for .p as a host.
We got him out to TI. He'll be staying with us.
Yeah. So working with Toffees is a road to success. KBBQ started on my radio show.
That's right, Dota FM back in the day.
Yeah, Dota FM, and now it looks like he has even grown too big for us.
He was he was hosting Summit.
I know, and I was like, "That's my boy." I did. So I shouldn't say zero. I tuned in to see, I tuned in and listened to Jack. But that's because I know Jack very intimately.
He's a super interesting guy. That one-on-one we did with him a while back was super
where
fascinating.
It's wait, you have a master's from Columbia? Huh?
I think the moral here is volunteer with reputable groups to get into esports. And hey, there's 2 reputable groups sitting right here, right now, doing shows at TI. They could probably use a little bit of help.
Absolutely.
And we're here to help you as well. Basically, there's been a lot of people that have come on. Flub, God damn it, met him, and I knew that instant that I was like, okay, we need to figure some shit out. We need to get this Flub guy because he's fucking awesome. And then he's like, I'm not going to TI, and we made it happen. He is coming to TI. He'll be bunking with all of us. So I hear you guys are friends in real life, you and Flub.
Yeah, we are. He was introducing me through one of my best friends. We played together for a long time. When I started casting, I tried to get him to be my co-caster, but he was too shy. And I think that you guys somehow got him out of his shell. So kudos to you, because I from day one said this guy's got insane knowledge.
Yeah,
I just figured out how to get it the hell out of him.
He coaches our team. He's our coach.
He's
our coach for our
amateur
80-12 team. Flub's our coach. And it's crazy. Like, he's like, last night he had this, he's like, so you guys want to play like a pub? You want to play like a team? Is what he said to us. Like,
except it was super nice.
It was way nicer than that.
You give him the like Friday Night Lights, like, or Varsity Blues.
But that's how it felt. We're like, no, sir, we want to play like a team, not like a pub.
No, this isn't a pub. We know that. Anyway, I'm looking forward to having that whole crew together. It's gonna be a fucking blast. Oh, and I'll plug one more time. 7:30 p.m. at least on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That's August 8th, 9th, and 10th. Royal Gaming Cafe. There,
Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, 4341 University Way, Northeast, Seattle, Washington. I'm told it's 4 miles away from.
It's further away than we wanted, but guess what? If you have the itch to play Dota, you can play Dota. You can play Dota with me. There are other. If you're over 21 and you want to have a better time, I will go find a bar with you and get a drink with you. Definitely.
Yeah.
So
but after recordings, we're gonna be doing
before and after recordings.
For some people.
And after recordings.
Okay, that's it.
All right.
I'm signing us out. Until next time, this is Cyphus. We're rolling in Toffees saying good luck.